Do you ever wonder why you're doing what you do in life? Do you wish that you could be really happy and passionate about what you do? Or maybe you already are and you want to expand in a different direction. Hi, I'm Barbara Ann, host of What the Why? I love what I do. A lot of that has to do with my story, my journey to this point in life. And guess what? Everybody has a story. So please join me for conversations with leaders from all walks of life about what they do, and more importantly, why they do it, how they found their core purpose, their passion, their mission in life. And if you're looking for your own, maybe you'll get some great suggestions on how you too can find your why.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of What the Why, the podcast. Now in season 4, after 3 seasons of our television show that is still available on Netstream as well as our YouTube page and other sites. If you haven't seen us before, our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about why they do what they do and how they figured out it was their purpose. Maybe you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or you feel stuck and you want to get unstuck in any aspect of your professional or personal life. One thing that most, if not all, of our guests have in common is at some point they felt similarly to you and they decided to do something about that. And today's guest is right up there with you. I would like to introduce you to Silvia Araya. She is, and I love this catchphrase, guided by resilience and rooted in compassion. She transforms trauma into healing. A lot of people don't realize that trauma is a response to an event, not the actual event. And so we're going to be talking about that a lot this session because you can heal from it. She's been doing this work for almost 2 decades, not that I want to date her or anything. And, you know, she can relate to what a lot of her clients are going through regarding anxiety and panic attacks and what really was the root cause a lot of that. And that even led her into a career that incorporates numerology into the process. In terms of her academia, her experience, she graduated with a psychology degree from Costa Rica in 2011. She is certified, actually she achieved her clinical trauma professional certification 2022. She is also, and something that I learned about in recent years, she's an internal family systems level 1 practitioner, which is really important. I have a client, in fact, who likes to refer to the voices in her head in multiples that she calls the brats, before she even knew that that was really what that meant. So what she does, what she can offer, can really be transformative. So definitely you want to stick around for this conversation. But without further ado, please join me in welcoming Silvia Araya to our show. So round of applause. Yay, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Yes, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for taking the time to join us because you're not in New Jersey.
I am not. I am close. I'm still on the East Coast, but a little further south.
And surprisingly, a little bit cooler than it is here in New Jersey.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
So after reading that, and I know part of your journey started, earlier, but even then, you know, for the most part, all of our guests are asked the same first question. You're doing all these amazing things, but what what did little Sylvia want to be when she grew up?
I wanted to be so many things. I the first thing I remember is I wanted to be a doctor. At some point, I even thought about becoming a vet, but doctor was always there. And then after that, it kind of evolved into psychology. So I remember being 12 years old and telling my classmates, I'm gonna see people, I'm gonna treat people, I'm gonna be a psychologist. Um, so very young, and I remember people telling me, oh no, people change their minds, it's okay. You can change your mind and study something. And I didn't. I still became a psychologist. But I think my dream was always to be a doctor. So it's not that far away. I think it's always related to helping people.
Oh, absolutely. Clearly, you have a servant's heart. Um, so your journey involved a lot of personal self-discovery as well. So to the extent you're comfortable, you please share with us how you did actually move into the what really is the mental health industry.
I now know, as I look back, because in that moment I didn't realize that I've been living with anxiety, I want to say almost my whole life. More noticeable when I was in high school. There was also a little bit of depression there. Um, but I guess it wasn't to the point where, it started to affect my life. And so I was just living with it. And then when I started college around, my early 20s, that's when I had a series of things happening in my life all together, right? Is what I call that, that it's the the thing that makes the pot boil, right?
Yeah, you hit the boiling point.
Exactly. Yes. And so in that moment, I realized that I was having more than anxiety. I was having something else. And it took me a moment, even though it's crazy because I was studying psychology at the moment, but it wasn't that um, talked about. Depression and other things, I think, were more present than that, or more known or something. And then I discovered I was having panic attacks right when I was in school. And so that for a moment set me back. And we can talk about that later. But basically, I think that I've been just called into the path of experiencing firsthand the situations in my life um, that then I use to support other people. So that's a little bit of how my journey started.
You finish school, you get your degree, you decide to go on, you do other things, you get additional certifications, and it's interesting because like I said, I really love the phrase guided by resilience, rooted in compassion.
Mm.
And it really seems to speak to who you are um, as a practitioner, but also as an individual and very empathetic, not empathic individual. How did you realize, like truly realize, because there's so many different ways you could have gone about this, but you're an independent practitioner, somebody that has had anxiety to go into business for yourself in of itself can cause anxiety or generate
Yes,
anxiety in entrepreneurs.
yes.
And yet you went this route.
I
So
know.
what gave you the courage? Where did you find that courage to
What
go that route?
that's wow, that's a very good question. And I'm gonna go back to the word resilience because to be honest, it was my deepest dream, but I didn't make the decision, or maybe not consciously. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit more of what happened. So I finished school, like everything you said. There's a whole other story there. It took me a minute because I actually stopped when I had the panic attacks. I stopped psychology for a moment because I felt, what am I doing? I'm probably the worst psychologist in the world. So anyway, I went to business school for for a few semesters, and then I came back and finished it. But then I was, as you said, frightened. I didn't know how to transition. And I had a job. I was in school at night, and had a job by day. And I didn't know how to jump because that safety net of having a salary every month, all of that. So this is the interesting thing about how life sometimes teaches us resilience. This is how I tied it here. Because the whole department was let go. The whole department, including my boss at the moment. There was a whole transition happening. There was another company that came, bought the company that I was in, and it was like this whole, they were doing their stuff. And we were all let go. And so I remember the shock of, wow, okay, this is basically life, the universe saying, okay, here you go.
You started to say, here's the universe. So we'll go
Yeah.
there. And you were on such a great role too.
I
So
know. And yeah, I don't know what happened there. But so yeah, it was basically the universe saying, here you go. Fly. Almost like the mama bird, like taking the little baby and saying, here you go, you can do it. And I remember being in such a shock because I was not expecting it at all. And at the same time, I thought, okay, maybe this is the time. Maybe I wasn't going to do it ever. And I needed the push. And that's how I started. And so I got a little bit of money out of that. They gave us all like a compensation thing, and I've been in there for a few years, so it was enough to keep me afloat, and while I was building my own private practice. So it worked perfectly. And the situation about resilience is that sometimes these things that we don't expect, that's what builds resilience. That's what actually strengthens our nervous system. It's not just when things are going well and we're all relaxed. Actually, the bumps on the road, that's what really develops the strength and the resilience in us.
and even just the word, so a lot of times when people will ask me, what do you think is your superpower? I think I share that with you. Resilience. I will always say resilience, the ability to keep getting back up and keep growing and evolving, and it's just a beautiful word in general.
Mm,
I just love the way it sounds. Even in other languages, it's such a powerful statement of who we are meant to be
yeah.
as human beings. And who are some of the people that you have helped basically recognize the resilience that they have in them?
I would say all of my clients, I specialize in panic attacks. And I gotta say, people who live with panic attacks on a daily basis, or even just a few times in their lives, that is resilience. That is resilience in its finest, because to live in that way, to live like you're dying all the time, to live like you are on an emergency mode all the time. I mean, talk about resilience, and still try to, you know, somehow tend to your kids and your home and go to work and like do all these things. I remember going to work with a panic attack, having panic attacks at work, and like getting in the bathroom at work and just crying to see if it will go away. That is resilience. And I know that I wasn't the only one, and I'm not the only one who's been through that. I know there's millions and millions of people who go every day to do they do what they need to do, and they still feel anxiety and panic, and they still feel all kinds of things in their system and illnesses, and that is resilience. So I see it every day with my clients.
And it's interesting because you have broadened the definition of what that even means.
Mm,
Because you think of resilience as the person who gets up and keeps going. And what you're describing is someone who finds the courage to force themselves to get up, even though so many others really struggle to do so. So it's like its own next level of resilience. Is it harder for someone who's learned to get up, dust themselves off, and keep going? Or for the person who is still trying to figure out how they can keep going and chooses to do it anyway? So, what are some of the things that you do to help them find the strength? I mean, when you said that how you got to work while having an active panic attack is truly a force of will
yeah.
and resilience. So, how do you help people to find when they're in that state the ability to still put one foot in front of the other and move forward?
Hmm. It's remembering, really, because we've never lost it. We never lost the strength and never lost the capacity, and we never lost really our essence. And so people tell me all the time, like, oh, I have this, so I must be weaker than other people. How come other people can get on the bus and feel normal, or they can go to these places, they can do this, they can do that? So that means that I am less than, I am weaker than. And I say, it's the opposite. Look how strong you are, that with all of this happening in your life, and you still showed up to work, you still showed up for your kids, you still did this, you still did that. So the strength is there. You're stronger than you think. You're stronger than you. There's a beautiful song by Whitney Houston that is almost like my mantra. And it's about that. It's realizing that you really are a strong, capable person right now going through this situation in your life, this state that is temporary as well. And it's a matter of recognizing, remembering that. And so when I tell them, like, think about a moment in your life that you've had something very difficult, and you're here. Look at yourself. You went through that and you're here right now. So it's just to recognize and remember that you did it. And with each person, the steps might change, because I know you asked specifically about the steps. Because for some people, it was like, oh, this song got me through, or this person, thinking about my grandmother, or my children got me through, or what I do in that moment is I pray, or what. But every person has their own way, and it's almost like reconnecting with that. Whatever it is that you did in that moment, remember what you did. And it's like finding the keys. If you lost the keys in the house, it's like go back and look at all the places that you've been in the house to find them again. It's the same thing internally.
And it's interesting because in coaching, that's one of the tools I love to use as well. When someone's really struggling with something, I'll say, well, when was the time that you experienced something similar?
Mm-hmm.
And we will actually go back and we'll look at how they resolve that and see what lessons they can apply. And you're taking it into even a much deeper way of helping them to take that past success. Silence, 'cause we are our own harshest critics and judges. We are. And so what I'm hearing you say is that you're looking at, okay, you can do it before, and so we're going to do it now. And what I'm also hearing you acknowledge is that they often feel like they're so alone, and they're not. Everybody's unique. Everybody's journey is unique, and everybody experiences it differently. And of course, we all want change to go in a straight line, and it
Mm-hmm.
it goes all over the place. Um, but the outcome is so worth it. What do you love most about what you do?
It's exactly what you described. It's been with all the people, the clients in that journey, accompanying them in that journey. It's beautiful. Not just to see the outcome and see them on the other side, right? Because that is obviously beautiful. And I've had the um, amazing opportunities. I'm so grateful that I've seen people doing things that they never thought they could do. But also in the middle, when they're going through the toughest, most darkest moments, and then having the revelations, having the insights, having those whoa aha moments, that is beautiful to experience. And I sometimes I'm with them and I get the chills too, and I'm also getting it too, the aha. I'm like, oh, I just got it too. So it's just it's such an honor, really, to be part of that with people and witness it. And so, yes, I can tell you a lot of success stories, and a person, a client who would never leave her house. And we started just by walking outside to really, and then walking around the block and so forth. Now she has a full life. She goes to work, everything. But also it's just those little moments of I want to say like painful joy, joyful pain that happens in the middle that are also so beautiful and delicious.
Well, there's so much just in what you just said.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal. It's so much so that I actually forgot the next question I was going to ask. And I don't do that often.
I
But no,
know.
actually, but that's okay because one of the things I'm really curious about is numerology.
Mm.
And what's interesting is there are people, sometimes the audience, I know I'm talking to some of you, there are people who will hear that and they'll say, wait, what? But everything around us is math and
Yes.
numbers. Even the algorithms, the computers we're talking on, are combinations of zeros and ones. So why wouldn't unlocking the answers in us also be numbers based? So how did you find a way to incorporate numerology into the work that you're doing?
I want to say that I also got that same reaction when I first came to numerology. I also said, wait, what? And I am not good at math at all, to the point that I didn't like math. I thought this is horrible, and I'm so glad I'm studying psychology because it has nothing with numbers. So I was just having a bad relationship with numbers. And then I listened to this program and I was just curious, intrigued, almost accept. I was like, I want to see if this really works, but I was like, I didn't know. I almost wanted to fail, right? I wanted it to fail. So I started doing it with all the people that I knew, my parents and my family, my friends, my ex-boyfriends. And I started to see the patterns. I really started to see, oh, okay, this actually is working. This actually, okay. And I've been doing it for over 10 years now. And so what it tells me is traits of personality. It just tells me that it's just parts, almost like an IFS. I can spot the parts just by using numbers. So that helps a lot because it's almost like this visual map that we can work on, me and my clients. We can work on it. I specifically use it just to help people balance their light and their shadow parts. And a lot of people who feel lost and they don't know, like what should I do with my life? What's my purpose? What's my mission? So a lot of that, and also even couples. Sometimes I see couples, and they say, "Well, I like this person. Is this person compatible with me?" Or we are a couple and we're having this issue right now in a relationship. Can you help us with this? And sure enough, it's right there in the numbers. It's just plain so simple. So it's very interesting, and it became a passion really. And everyone around me talks in numbers too. My husband does it with me. He understand the codes now.
Yeah. And it's interesting because if you really break it down, that's what dating apps are doing. And
Yeah.
people don't think anything about that. And so part of my hope is that people start to open their minds by watching this episode and recognizing that there are some tools out there that they could be dismissing based on their own biases around techniques that have been around for a really, really long time.
Millennia. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is this comes from Pythagoras. We're
Yes.
talking thousands of years. Yeah.
Yes. And and it's interesting because other practices that have been around a really long time, you mentioned balance, is you're a trauma-informed yoga instructor. Help help clarify what that is. I was so fascinated when you first shared that with me.
So I first became a yoga teacher, yoga instructor, just the general type, like hatha yoga, all the what most people do and know. And But my journey with anxiety and panic attacks has taken me to trauma. It's organically just brought me to trauma. And I know now why. I believe firmly that everything that we go through in life, especially when we're talking about mental health, is rooted in trauma. So it's the logical step, because I'm always trying to find the root cause of everything. So I decided to go and take another certification of yoga, but mostly with trauma, because now we know that trauma is stored in the body. Trauma is not in the head, and anxiety is not here in the head, and it's not just your thoughts like everyone thought. No, no, no. The body is storing, it's involved in all of this as well. So if we don't work with the body, then a lot of this is not getting moved, released, healed. So when we incorporate yoga and other practices, in my case, it was yoga, then you can learn how to connect with your body again and learn how to help your body to heal everything that's been storing. So the difference is that with trauma-informed yoga, the movements are the same, the positions are the same. You just do it in a way that feels good with your body and you. You don't push yourself. The breathing also can be a little bit more paused. And the way the class is just more gentle, because we don't want to if we're having stress in our body, trauma in your body, we don't want to push it further. Like, oh, we got to do this. You got to do this position. Put your leg up here. It's not about that. It's about listening and connecting again with your body. So it's a little bit more gentle. The words that we use, the asanas, the positions that we use are very purposefully for trauma. And we invite people to just feel it. And if it doesn't feel good, you don't have to do it, right? If it hurts, don't do it. If this is too much for you, don't do it, right? So yeah, it's just a different approach. Same. I want to say same structure, but it's just a different way that it's a little bit more gentle and friendly for people who are starting to connect with with their bodies.
It's phenomenal. I love it. Everything about that. Yeah, and believe it or not, we're actually
I
already,
know.
he's always goes so fast. But I think it's because the people that I get to talk to that come on the show are people I really want to know, like legitimately. Like I'm like, okay, I really want to know this person. They're so cool. I guess one of the questions I have for you is, um, what's one thing that you would like to have known when you started on the entrepreneurial aspect of your journey that you can share with someone else who may be thinking about going on the entrepreneurial
Hmm.
journey themselves?
I love this question because it's something that I've been mm, connecting with a lot in the later years, especially. And it is, I wished, I wish I had known, or that had someone told me that let me see how I can phrase it, that I can do it my own way, that I don't have to do it like everyone else is doing it. Because I felt, especially in the beginning, and sometimes I still feel it, I have to be honest. I still feel like, oh, I need to do it like they're doing it. There's a trend. I need to do that trend too, even if it doesn't feel right with me, but I have to do it because that's what, the algorithm, talking about numbers and algorithm, that's what the algorithm is favoring right now. So I need to do that. And I've noticed myself pushing myself or doing things sometimes that don't feel right. And then I go back to, no, 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 you don't have to do that. You do what feels good for you. Stay true to your essence, because that is basically the heart of your business. It's your own essence. The business and your energy are connected always. And when we disconnect our energy from the business energy, then people are going to see it, they're going to feel it too. But if your heart is always there and it's in alignment with your business, then it doesn't matter if you know the newest dance or or the trend, all of that. Doesn't matter.
Yes, when your heart is connected to it and you are living your purpose, that is the perfect note on which to end this conversation. And I'm gonna have to have you back at some point.
Yes.
This has been fun. For anyone who would like to reach out to you about your services, what are some ways that they can find you?
I think the fastest, easiest way would be to go to my website. So it's basically my name, silviaaraya.com. And I think they can find everything they need in there, my social media handles, all the things, the channels, the options, the buttons. Everything is right there in one place.
All right. Sylvia, thank you so much for taking time to be on our show. It's been an honor to have you. And audience, I hope there's so much to take away from this episode. So, feel free to watch it again and again and again. Not just because it helps our numbers, because it's actually really I know I'm going to rewatch it, and I'm not even doing the editing, which there will be very little of. So that said, um, we really appreciate you for joining us today. And audience, we also really appreciate you for joining us today. You have so many viewing choices out there, and we really respect, honor, and appreciate the fact that you chose to spend some time with us. And if this is beneficial to you and uplifted you, please share our our site information, the various platforms that we're on, with others that might feel similarly. And also, please, please always remember, no matter what it is in life that you want to do, no matter how big or small, join us again for some more illuminating, interesting, exciting, fascinating conversations with guests like Silvia, who at one point thought that what they wanted to do might seemingly be impossible, but they overcame whatever challenges or obstacles were in their path to find their purpose and live it.